Tamil Nadu ministers, AIADMK functionaries and cadres campaign in Srirangam constituency for the AIADMK candidate. ISIS threatens to kill the Jordan pilot even as it releases video purportedly showing beheading of Japanese hostess Kenji Goto. Vector-borne disease is under control in Tamil Nadu, says the health minister. Primary health centers and district hospitals are ready to meet any eventuality. The news in detail. Tamil Nadu ministers, AIADMK functionaries and cadres carried out a whirlwind election campaign in Srirangam constituency by visiting the houses in several areas and briefing about the achievements of the people's chief, Ms. Jaya. The AIADMK supporters are carrying out election campaign to gather support for the AIADMK candidate S. Valarmati in the by-election to be held for the constituency. The Lok Sabha Deputy Speaker Dr. M. Thambidurai, Ministers V. Sendil Balaji, T. Ratnavel MP and party cadres gathered support for the AIADMK in villages including Maravanur and Idiyapatti. The AIADMK Women's Wing Secretary L. Sasikala Pushpa, MP, and the government's chief whip R. Manoharan, accompanied by the party cadres, campaigned in places including Tirkavidi and Kumaran Street. MP S.R. Vijay Kumar and members of the students' wing garnered support for S. Valarmati in Raghavendra Arch and Mahalakshmi Nagar, while the AIADMK's Deputy Propaganda Secretary Nanjil Sampath, the party's Presidium Chairman E. Madhusudanan and other ministers carried out election campaign in various places across the constituency.
சட்டம் படிக்க வேண்டும் என்றால் கேம்பிரிட்ஜ் பல்கலைக்கழகம் ஒரு காலத்தில் பெயர் பெற்றது. ஒரு நூற்றாண்டுகளுக்கு முன்பு மெட்ராஸ் லா காலேஜ் பெயர் பெற்றது. இன்றைக்கு உலகத்திலேயே சட்டம் படிக்க வேண்டும் என்றால் ஸ்ரீரங்கம் நேஷனல் லா அகாடமி என்று சொல்லி ஒரு புதிய சரித்திரத்தை இந்த ஸ்ரீரங்கத்திற்கு தந்தது அம்மா அவர்கள். இந்த தொகுதியினுடைய ஊரக பகுதிகளாக இருக்கின்ற மணிகண்டம் ஒன்றியம், அந்தநல்லூர் ஒன்றியம், மணப்பாறை ஒன்றியத்தில் ஏறக்குறைய 93 திட்டங்களை நிறைவேற்றி தந்த ஆட்சி புரட்சி தலைவி அம்மா அவர்களினுடைய ஆட்சி என்பதை தயவு செய்து மறந்து விடாதீர்கள். அம்மா மண்டபத்திற்கு அருகில் ஒரு அம்மா உணவகத்தை நிறுவியது மட்டுமல்ல, நாட்டு மக்களினுடைய கோரிக்கைகள் அனைத்தையும் இந்த ஸ்ரீரங்கத்தில் நிறைவேற்றி தந்து இந்தியாவிலேயே இந்த தொகுதியை ஒரு மாநில தொகுதியாக மாற்றி காட்டிய ஒரு மகத்தான வரலாறு புரட்சி தலைவியின் வரலாறு என்பதை தயவு செய்து நெஞ்சிலே நினைத்து பாருங்கள்.
In what may come as a ray of hope to the families of the 1984 anti-Sikh riots cases, the centre has reportedly decided to set up a special investigation team to probe those cases which were closed by the police and did not reach the courts. The official announcement about the sit will be made after elections in Delhi are over, sources said, adding that its members will be decided in next 3 days. The decision to set up the sit was taken by the Home Ministry after a panel constituted by the government under retired Justice G.P. Mathur submitted its report saying there are 225 such cases which need a relook. In its report, the committee has said that in many cases, crucial evidence was overlooked and there should be a fresh probe. The committee, which was constituted in December last year, had a 3-month term but submitted its report within 45 days. Sources say that the committee has pointed out that not much can be done in cases which have been disposed by various courts, but fresh probe needs to be carried out in cases where, despite evidence, the police, instead of filing charge sheets, went ahead with closing the cases. Sources say these involve cases against Congress leaders Sajjan Kumar and Jagdish Titler. The families of the victims have alleged that Delhi police ignored evidence and witness accounts under political pressure and closed these cases. Home Minister Rajnath Singh had recently described the riots as genocide and assured the victims that government will bring the culprits to justice. The riots took place after the assassination of former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by her Sikh bodyguards in 1984. Some 3,000 people were killed in violence by mobs allegedly led by Congress leaders. The BJP has long championed the cause of Sikhs targeted in the riots and recently announced hike in compensation for the victims' families. But Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party has accused the BJP of trying to win over Sikh votes ahead of the Delhi polls. AAP leader Arvind Kejriwal has once again apologized for his actions during his 49-day tenure as Chief Minister of Delhi last year and promised not to quit again. Kejriwal, who quit on February 14 last year, just 49 days after being sworn in, has faced flack for his decision to resign midway. AAP, which had 28 seats in the 70-member House, ran the government with Congress support. Later, Kejriwal contested Lok Sabha polls against BJP's Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi from Varanasi but lost. The vector-borne diseases are under control in the state, and the state government has stocked enough medicines at all primary health centers and district hospitals to meet any eventuality, said Health Minister of Tamil Nadu C. Jaya. The number of cases of dengue had been brought down this year than in the past. Officials should visit the areas if they found a spike in cases of viral fever, he said, speaking at a review meet on containing communicable diseases in Karur. The review meeting was held in the wake of dengue outbreak reported in a few villages of Kadavur Taluk recently. Besides the officials of health, rural development, town panchayats and municipal administration of 6 districts including Karur, Salem, Namakkal and Coimbatore took part in it. The health minister said the health officials should put in concerted efforts with the active support of line departments such as rural development, town panchayat and municipalities in the affected areas. Moreover, all stakeholders including local residents, traders and academics should be involved in the task of driving out mosquitoes. The situation report should be sent to the government daily. Anganwadi workers, volunteers and daily wage workers would be involved in the efforts to control communicable diseases. Officials should launch door-to-door survey at the villages where viral fever cases were reported. The survey would be rechecked with a different set of officials, he said. Meanwhile, K.S. Palanisamy Collector Tiruchi has asked the Tiruchirappalli City Corporation to expedite awareness campaign to remove mosquito breeding sources with public participation.
இந்த முகாம்ல இசிஜி எக்ஸ்ரே ஸ்கேன் எல்லா வசதியும் இருக்கு. இதுல பெரிய பெரிய டாக்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து பொதுமக்களுக்கு நிறைய சேவை செய்யறாங்க. ஏழை எளிய மக்களுக்கு ரொம்ப உதவியா இருக்கு. இதுல வந்து சித்தா மருத்துவம் சேர்ந்து இருக்குது. இதை அறிவித்த அம்மாவுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி.
Islamic State militants said they had beheaded a second Japanese hostage journalist, Kenji Goto, prompting Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to vow to step up humanitarian aid to the group's opponents in the Middle East and help bring his killers to justice. The hardline Islamist group, which controls large parts of Syria and Iraq, released a video showing a hooded man standing over Goto with a knife to his throat, followed by footage of a head put on the back of a human body. Japanese Defense Minister Gen Nakatani said the video appeared to be genuine. The video was released exactly a week after footage appearing to show the beheaded body of another Japanese hostage, Haruna Yukawa. When Islamic State first threatened Goto and Yukawa 2 weeks ago, it justified its move by citing Abe's pledge of $200 million in aid to countries battling the militant group. But in a show of defiance, Abe on Sunday vowed to increase Japan's food, medicine and other humanitarian aid for the Middle East. Islamic State had said Goto was held along with a Jordanian pilot. Efforts to win their release had focused on the possible release in exchange of an Iraqi would-be suicide bomber jailed in Jordan 10 years ago. The video did not mention the pilot. President Barack Obama said the United States condemned the heinous murder and would continue to work with the allies to destroy the hardline Islamist group. Britain and France also condemned the killing. The militant had the same British accent as the man featured in previous Islamic State videos showing beheadings. Goto wore an orange jumpsuit like Islamic State captives in past footage. Abe's government had put high priority on seeking the release of Goto, a veteran war correspondent captured by the militants in late October when he went to Syria seeking Yukawa's release. Yukawa was seized by militants in August after going to Syria to launch a security company. Japanese coalition and opposition politicians also expressed anger But in a sign of a potential political split, the main opposition party questioned the wisdom of provoking Islamic State. Islamic State, an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, has beheaded a number of Western journalists and aid workers, saying they were paying the price for their government's fight against the group. It has also killed many local people through beheadings, stonings and shootings, accusing them of violating their hardline interpretation of Islamic law. There was no mention in the 1-minute video of Jordanian pilot Muat al-Kasabi, who was seized by Islamic State after his jet crashed in northeast Syria in December during a bombing mission against the militants. An audio message that appeared to be from Goto earlier this week said Kasabi would be killed if Jordan did not free Iraqi Sajida al-Rishawi in jail for her role in a 2005 suicide bomb attack that killed 60 people in the Jordanian capital, Amman. 11 persons lost their lives in an accident in Rajasthan where two vehicles collided against each other. Villagers of Santan village near Jaisalmer in Rajasthan were travelling in a vehicle to another village to cast their mandate for the Panchayat election. Their vehicle in which they were travelling collided onto another vehicle coming in the opposite direction, killing 11 people. With Thaipusam Car Festival scheduled for February 3rd, elaborate arrangements have been made on the hill temple in Parani for the convenience of pilgrims, mostly Padayatris. A total of 3,600 police personnel will be deployed for the festival. Addressing a special meeting to review arrangements, Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Minister R. Kamaraj said that priority should be given for safety of pilgrims through effective crowd management. On security arrangements, Deputy Superintendent of Police Shanmugasundaram said that Parani-Oranchaturam highway will be converted into one-way 5 days before the car festival. All vehicles proceeding to Parani from Dindukal and southern districts will be diverted at Oranchaturam and made to pass through Kalimandayam to reach Parani. Vehicles from Parani only will be allowed to pass through Parani. Dindukal highway. Only buses will be allowed to enter Oranchaturam. All private vehicles will be diverted at Oranchaturam bypass road to go to Kalimandayam. 2 control rooms, one on Hill Temple and another one on the foothill, will be established to regulate crowd and monitor movement of people. 8 dome cameras and 19 surveillance cameras will be installed at vantage points including the Hill Temple, Sri Padavinayagar Temple and rope car station, and public address system will be fitted to alert people. Police personnel were deployed not only in the temple town but also at bottlenecks near all junctions on Dindukal-Palani highway. Security has been beefed up at winch and rope car stations and Padavinayagar temple area. Separate path to climb the hill was provided at Kudamuraka Mandapam to avoid congestion, said Collector T. N. Hariharan. Pilgrims climbing the hill will pass through Elephant Path and reach the hill. The hill step way that starts at Sri Padavinayagar Temple will be used by pilgrims to climb down from the hill. A waiting hall was constructed near Kudamuraka Mandapam to keep the crowd. The crowd was regulated in the plains itself. Pilgrims were allowed to go to hill on the basis of the capacity of the hill. On clearance of one batch, next batch will be allowed to go to avoid stampede, sources said. A gas-filled balloon co-piloted by an American and a Russian touched down safely in the waters of Mexico, completing a week-long trans-Pacific flight that unofficially broke 2 world records. The balloon carrying Troy Bradley of New Mexico and his Russian co-pilot Leonid landed near La Poza Grande in the Mexican state of Baja California Sur after a flight that lasted 6 days, 16 hours and 38 minutes and covered 6,646 miles, organizers of the mission said in a statement. Bradley and Leonid, known as the 2 Eagles, left Saga in southern Japan on January 25th in their attempt to surpass the world distance record for flying a gas-filled balloon as well as the record for time in flight for that type of aircraft. Both records need to be certified before becoming official. During the balloon's descent, winds turned parallel to the coast, making it more prudent for the pilots to execute a landing in the water.
Some kilometers before coast, we drop in the ocean. Now we are feeling good, very glad to be among people.
The 2 Eagles balloon, which relied solely on an enclosed chamber of helium gas for lift is different from hot air balloons and so-called rosary balloons, which rely on both hot air and lighter than air gas. Rosary balloons have by far the greatest range of the three types.